So I was thinking, new look, new channel, how's about a new PC? You may have already noticed this little number behind me already in a couple of past videos, but it was still a work in progress. Until now. I finished this beast of a high-end workstation earlier this week and felt it was about time for it to make its YouTube debut. And without further ado, I present Black Halo. I'll have the full parts list linked in the description, but I'd still like to go over what went into this build and why I decided on the parts that I got. First up, I had two very important choices to make. Since I was tired of Intel dropping significantly better processors like yearly, or in case of this year, bi-frickin' yearly, I wanted to jump on a platform that probably wasn't going to change too much for at least 2 years. I'm not a psychic, but I'm fairly certain that the X399 and X299 platforms are probably going to stay the way they are. AMD definitely lit a fire under Intel's butt since competition is so fierce even at the high-end workstation platforms. After looking at both platforms for the best price to performance, I found that Intel actually took the win. The cheapest processor on the AMD side right now, compatible with X399, is the 1900X, which you can get on Amazon for about $500, which is not too bad. You still get all those PCIe lanes as well as 8 cores and 16 threads than its more expensive cousins. The Intel equivalent 8 core on the X299 platform is the 7820X, which you can get for about $560, $60 more than the Threadripper chip. So no brainer here, right? Get the cheaper one? Well, no. Performance numbers from reputable sites like CPU Boss actually say that the 7820X chip has about 20% more better performance in both single and multi-threaded workloads. And seeing Intel's past performance with other chips versus the Ryzen platform, I'm inclined to believe it. It would appear now that you would pay about 11% more for the Intel chip than the Threadripper, but receive about 20% more performance for your money. Going with Intel was definitely the no-brainer. Next was to pick out the motherboard to accompany my choice of processor. I knew I wanted to reuse my G.Skill Trident Z RGB memory, so I would probably be going with an Asus motherboard. But Asus has a lot of different options with different aesthetics to suit multiple needs and demographics. Their Prime series of motherboards, for example, denoted by the use of white and silver accents, often speaks to the professional, including features to cater to that demographic, like Thunderbolt add-in cards or even dual gigabit Ethernet, and even the possibility for 10 gigabit networking. Also in their lineup are the Tough series. These boards are a bit easier on the wallet and respectfully do not have many of the bells and whistles that the other boards in their lineup do have, like extensive RGB lighting or those add-in cards like we mentioned before. But it's got all the needed features and would have been a solid option. For the creme de la creme of Asus motherboards is the ROG Rampage Extreme. This $650 plus board has pretty much everything you would ever want in a board in terms of quality, included accessories, and reliability. Sadly, it costs more than my processor, which that's not happening. Which finally brings me to the motherboard I did buy, the Asus ROG Strix X299E. This board definitely sits right in the middle in terms of accessories, aesthetics, and reliability. And it was a decent price point to boot. I picked up mine for about $320, which also included a free copy of Assassin's Creed Origin, which is a $60 value. I believe that I already mentioned I was using the same RAM for my previous build. And oh, right, I had to buy another power supply since the one I was using didn't have another cable for a second CPU EPS power connector, which X299 kind of requires. I managed to snag a Corsair HX750 from Amazon for about $110 at the time, which did include the two CPU cables. What's left? Right, I reused my Corsair H100i for cooling. And I guess all that's left to talk about are the case and the video card. I really splurged on the graphics card here. I threw down for an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 Ti, the Asus Strix card. This was the most expensive purchase for this build at a whopping $760. Also note here, it did come with Destiny 2, which is pretty good considering I was actually looking to buy that one. So there's another $60 value right there. There were a lot of contenders for graphics card here. I mean, they just came out with the 1070 Ti, 1080 is still a beast. But at the end of the day, I really wanted the single best card on the market right now for gaming, which is the 1080 Ti. Also, this card is gigantic. That's actually my hand for scale. Lastly is the case. There's been numerous case drops on the market over the last couple months, which kind of persuaded me to move in a certain direction. Ultimately, I wanted a case with built-in lighting of some kind that would sync with the rest of the lighting I had going on in my case. You know, a lot of different companies, a lot of different APIs and stuff, so kind of hard to get it all to work, but kind of narrowed it down to the H500P from Corsair and the Phanteks Pro MSE with the RGB fan attachments. The Phanteks went on sale 1 week, and I guess the rest was history. Overall, I'm really happy with how everything turned out. The case lighting is on fleek, and I feel like I have a real professional grade workstation for my video production and content creation that I can also game on with confidence. I'll save the build time lapse for another video since I went on talking for a little bit longer than I intended, so you're just going to have to wait for those gratuitous PC glam shots in the next one. So go ahead and toss this video a like, help support my channel by getting subscribed. This was Andrew with Circuits Anonymous, and I'm signing off.